I never thought the love of my life would betray me. But sometimes the people you trust the most are the ones who hurt you the deepest. Let me take you back to how it all began and how it all fell apart. My name is Daniel, and for a long time, I believed I had the perfect love story. I thought I had found the woman I would spend the rest of my life with, Vanessa. From the moment we met, I felt like everything was falling into place. We met at the wedding of a mutual friend. I was there for the groom. She was there for the bride. One moment I was enjoying the wedding, and the next I was caught up in a conversation with the most beautiful woman in the room. By the end of the night, we had exchanged contacts, and that was the beginning of everything. At first, things were casual, a few texts here and there. Then it became an everyday thing. Morning texts, late-night calls, little check-ins throughout the day. Before I knew it, Vanessa had become a part of my daily routine. It felt natural, easy. And then came the moment when I finally asked her to be my girlfriend. She made me wait, played around like she wasn't sure. At the time, I thought she was just being cautious, maybe taking the decision seriously. I saw that hesitation as maturity, as thoughtfulness. Looking back now, I wonder if I should have seen it for what it really was. But back then, I didn't question anything. I gave her everything, my time, my love, my support. If she needed me, I was there. If she had a problem, I did everything I could to fix it. If she wanted something, I made sure she got it. I introduced her to my family, and they accepted her without question. My parents treated her like a daughter. My siblings loved her. She was welcome in my home any time. It wasn't just my family either. I got close to hers too. I cared about the people she cared about. If her parents needed help, I was there. If her siblings needed anything, I made sure they got it. I wasn't just dating her. I was investing in her, in us, in our future. In my mind, it was only a matter of time before I got down on one knee and made it official. But my friends weren't exactly fans of Vanessa. They never said it outright at first, but I could tell they had doubts. It wasn't just one or two of them. It was all of them. They thought she was too wild, too unpredictable, and in their words, too much woman for someone like me. See, I'm the quiet, steady type. But Vanessa, she was loud, full of energy, always the center of attention. My friends didn't trust that. They said she was the kind of woman who needed chaos to stay interested, and I wasn't built for chaos. They didn't hold back on their warnings either. She's using you, they'd say, shaking their heads. You're acting like a fool for her. Every time we hung out, someone found a way to bring her up, and it was never in a good way. They told me I was blind, that I was letting her wrap me around her little finger. But I didn't listen. I'd just smile and tell them they were wrong. You don't know her like I do, I'd say, brushing off their concerns. I convinced myself they were just being protective. Maybe they didn't like seeing me so invested in someone. To me, Vanessa wasn't what they thought she was. She wasn't some selfish, manipulative woman out to take advantage of me. She was the best thing that had ever happened to me. Life doesn't always hand out good things, but when it does, you have to hold on to them, right? That's what I told myself. That's what I told my friends. I believed in love. And I believed in her. Aside from my friends, there was one other person who tried to talk sense into me. Stephanie. Stephanie and I had become friends over the course of my relationship with Vanessa. At first, she was just Vanessa's friend, but as time passed, we got along well. She was easy to talk to, never one to sugarcoat things, and had a bluntness that made her feel trustworthy. That's why I didn't expect what she said next. She hesitated for a moment before she told me Vanessa had been cheating on me. Not a one-time mistake, not a moment of weakness. No, it had been happening for a long time. She told me she had confronted Vanessa multiple times, urging her to stop. But Vanessa didn't care. If anything, she had only gotten bolder with it. Stephanie said she couldn't keep quiet anymore. She thought I deserved to know. I stared at her. Cheating? Vanessa? It didn't make sense. We were good. I took care of her, loved her, made sure she never lacked anything. I introduced her to my family, and they adored her. I was even close to her family, helping them whenever they needed something. Vanessa had no reason to betray me. No reason at all. I let out a small laugh, shaking my head. "This is a joke, right?" I asked, expecting her to break character and tell me it was just some stupid test to see if I trusted Vanessa. But she didn't laugh. She didn't take it back. Instead, she sighed and told me she wouldn't have said anything if she wasn't sure. Still, I refused to believe it. This had to be some kind of misunderstanding. My mind searched for any explanation. That made more sense than the idea that Vanessa, the woman I was planning to marry, was sneaking around behind my back. One evening, I had just gotten home from work, exhausted from the long day. My office had been a mess, and by the time I walked through my front door, all I wanted was to eat, shower, and maybe watch something mindless until I passed out. But before I could even take off my shoes, my phone rang. It was Stephanie again. I stared at the screen, debating whether to pick up. The second I did, Stephanie's voice came through, sounding urgent. "Daniel, if you don't believe what I told you the other day, go to Vanessa's house right now. Don't tell her you're coming. Just go." I sat down, rubbing my forehead. "Stephanie, I'm tired. What exactly are you trying to just go?" Her tone was sharp, almost desperate. "I'm not playing with you. If you trust me even a little, just do it." She was serious, but still, a part of me resisted. What if I showed up and Vanessa was just home alone, minding her business? What if I looked like an idiot for doubting her? Worse, what if Vanessa found out Stephanie was feeding me these ideas and got angry at me for listening? But another thought crept in, one I couldn't shake. What if Stephanie was right? I took a deep breath, pushing off the couch. Fine, I'd go. Not because I believed Stephanie, but because I needed to prove her wrong. That way, I could finally put all this to rest and tell her to stop interfering in my relationship. I changed, out of my work clothes, throwing on something more comfortable, reached for my keys and stepped out of my apartment, locking the door behind me. I pulled up to Vanessa's apartment and parked outside. I stepped out of the car and walked up to her door. Locked, of course, but I had a spare key. You ever walk into a room and instantly know your life's about to change? Yeah, that was me. Sliding the key into the lock, my hand froze. Something felt off, but I pushed the door open anyway, stepping inside quietly. The living room looked the same until my eyes landed on it. A crumpled men's shirt on the floor, a pair of jeans tossed carelessly on the couch, and right next to them, Vanessa's dress. My heart pounded. My breathing got heavier. I reached into my pocket, pulled out my phone, and hit record. If this was what I thought it was, I'd need proof. I followed the trail to our bedroom, and there she was, tangled in the sheets, her bare back exposed. Straddling her, a man, tall, rough-looking, bigger than me, his hands gripping her waist, her arms wrapped around his neck. They were so lost in their world they didn't even notice me. I should have yelled, I should have done something, but all I did was record. I stood there, numb, and when I had enough, I stopped recording, put my phone away, and cleared my throat. The reaction was instant. Vanessa gasped, scrambling for the sheets, her eyes wide with horror. The guy turned his head slowly, no guilt on his face, just surprise. When I finally found my voice, I asked one simple question. Why? Vanessa hesitated. Her lips parted like she was about to lie. But then something shifted. She lifted, her chin, her voice steady. "I'm sorry, Daniel, but I needed a real man. You're good, but too soft." Those words hit like a punch to the gut, but I didn't react. I just smiled, walked over to her purse, grabbed my spare key, and took it back. Without another word, I walked out. I thought my friends would have my back. But when I told them what happened, they didn't even hesitate. They burst into laughter, like I'd just told the funniest joke of the year. "She's right, bro," one of them said between chuckles. "You were a fool for her. You made her your queen," another added, smirking. But she wanted a king, not a servant. I just sat there stunned, waiting for someone, anyone, to say, "Damn, man, you didn't deserve that." But that never came. So I left, went home, locked my door, and grabbed the first bottle I could find. At first, I just wanted to take the edge off. Just a few sips, but one turned into two, two turned into five, and before I knew it, I was drowning in a sea of alcohol and self-loathing, but with every drink the anger grew. If she wanted to play dirty, I'd show her what dirty felt like. I grabbed my phone, scrolled to my gallery, and without a second thought, I uploaded the video. Sent it to every group chat we were both in, along with one message. Be careful who you give your heart to. Some people will break your back and still tell you you're not enough. The reaction was immediate. My phone blew up. Calls, texts, voice notes, names I hadn't seen in months. Even some of Vanessa's closest friends, I didn't care. The job was done. And Vanessa? Her voice notes went from rage to desperation real quick. "Daniel, you ruined my life over one mistake. You're sick." But the longer she talked, the more her anger cracked. She cried. She pleaded. She blamed me. "You're making this worse than it has to be." Worse for who, Vanessa? Then came the legal threats, or at least an attempt. Revenge porn, one of her friends called it. But it wasn't. No nudity. No explicit images. Just cold, undeniable proof. Proof she never thought would see the light of day. If exposing the truth made me the villain, so be it. I blocked her. Blocked her friends. Blocked anyone still defending her. And then I sat back, sipping my drink, feeling lighter than I had in years. So now I'll ask you, would you have done the same? Maybe you think I went too far. Maybe you think I didn't go far enough. But I don't really care. Vanessa's out of my life for good. And if you know someone who needs to see this, share it. Maybe they'll learn something before it's too late.